Yo, what's up, world? This is Dane Tomas, and you're listening to the Dane Tomas podcast. Every week, I talk to experts, weirdos, new friends, and old ones about everything from magic to business to creativity and human awakening. So, strap yourself in, lay back and relax, cause we're heading straight for the black hole.
Hey Kat, what's up? Thanks for doing this.
So happy to be doing it. So it's so happy to just have the vibe of, like, obviously I love you and everything you're about, and part of that is even just the relaxedness of like, hey, I'm in the flow right now, can we do it a bit later?
Yeah.
Love all of that. Nothing that drives me mad more than the idea of structured interviews or having to be somewhere at an exact time.
Well, it's very interesting because I was chatting with a friend / one of the spiral pracs / someone I've been very enjoying her development lately. Like, she's starting to take off, and she has just started watching some of my videos, and she's like, I just forgot how amazingly unprofessional you are. What do you mean? She's like, you're not even really trying to be professional. You're just doing the thing, and it's just so compelling. And I'm just like, I don't think of myself like that. But the particular video she's watching, I made when I was doing one of your courses. And not that I'm saying either one of us is unprofessional, but whatever that even means, and we can get into it. But what it translated to me was people who just do the thing and aren't necessarily that precious about it.
Yeah, well, like, really, if you think about it, it's pretty fucking unprofessional to be wearing, a mask or a facade and presenting that to the world.
Yeah.
That's what most people do, right? I think that they have to do. My dog's just walked in here chewing something disgusting looking. So if you hear piglet type noises in the background, it's not a pig, it's a French bulldog.
So I'll just throw a bit of context out. I don't know who's going to eventually end up watching these. Currently, I'm sharing them in my Going Viral group, which is growing bigger by the day, but then they're getting packaged up on iTunes and whatnot. So maybe you're listening to this in the future, except it won't be the future for you. It'll be now for you, but we'll have done this in your past. But anyway, whoever you are, the reason I reached out to Kat is because I've known her around for quite a while, and I feel like gradually our worlds have gotten a little bit closer over time. But I just think you're an epic example of someone who's fucking rocking it in business really strongly on their own terms. And I know there's heaps of those out there, but often the people who look like they're doing great, when I get to know about them, they're not as successful as they look. There's a lot of people, their image or their expression's really cool. And there's people who are really crushing it financially, but they are quite following a ladder or doing the thing in the way you do the thing. And I don't know that I've come across so many who are crushing it by normal success standards, i.e. making lots of money, impacting lots of people, and really doing it the way exactly they want to do it. And I think that's what compelled me about following you and doing some of your stuff and just kind of observing you is you're clearly doing it on your own terms and fucking crushing it at a really legit level, a lot more than a lot of people in the space. And so I just thought it'd be really cool to get in touch and get inside your head a bit, and we can touch on like soul business, on doing things your own way, whatever else wants to come in. I'm into it, but that's kind of the context of why I wanted to have this chat. It's the authenticity, I think, is the thread that I resonate with. Yeah,
perfect. Cool. I have to move this dog out because he's distracting me. Give me 1 second. He's just over there chewing.
See what I mean, people? Authenticity. You can't fake the dog.
All right. Well, I thought it was pretty authentic having the dog running around in the background, because I've done many trainings that turn into shit shows if the children come in and start hanging off the top of my head or something.
Yeah.
But when he's just like chewing this thing the whole time, I'm like, nah, you got to go, dude. You're out.
What do you think stops so many people from just doing things their own way?
it's like, how long have we got, right? I mean, what it boils down to is, I believe, like primal need in terms of being part of the tribe and part of the group and being accepted. And one of the deepest but often unrecognized to most people fears is, you know, being separate from everyone else and not belonging and not fitting in. And I guess we've all felt that to some degree through our lives as kids and as adults. But it's kind of fascinating to me because, like, people think about me and they probably think the same about you. Oh, you're just so confident, you know, you don't give a fuck, and like, I wish I had your confidence and self-belief and that sort of thing. And I'm kind of like, well, yeah, I probably do have a pretty reasonable level of confidence and self-belief at this point in my journey.
Yeah.
And particularly relevant to online business. I've been in business online for nearly 15 years now. So of course I have a lot of practice, but I'm human as fuck, obviously. Like, there's so many times when I feel fear of rejection. I hate it when people don't like me on the internet. Hate it. Like, I literally want to go to their house, cook them dinner, sit down and explain why I'm a nice person. I hate it. So it's not that I don't feel those same things as anyone else. It's that, to me, it's like, what has that got to do with me doing my job and letting the message out? I can separate it out. And I guess that's what a lot of people they don't realize yet. And that's a lot of that. You could say, you could blame the industry for that to a degree, because there's so much presented out there that you have to be this or this or this. But ultimately, self-responsibility comes into play. And I think people just literally do not make the choice to show up for their message and for who they know they're meant to be as a leader, in spite of their fears and doubts. They think that they have to clear doubt and fear and, you know, get to a point of some kind of iron, you know, unshakable confidence or self-belief that they imagine that maybe I've got or you've got. But I feel like deep down they know that that's a crock of shit and that it is just a choice. So then the real reason why they don't shop that way is not even because of any of that stuff. Rejection, fear, doubt, am I good enough, am I worthy, all these different things. They're real. I'm not saying they're real, but it's like a surface level. And I think that beneath that, people do know the only real reason is I didn't decide to do it anyway. And so then you could go back and forth all day and dig in and figure out what the reasons for that are. Of course, you can do amazing work like what you do to clear that and to understand more and to, you know, continue to unravel. But it's got to be at the same time. It can't be, I'll do all the work and then I can present myself to the world as a perfect, polished specimen of perfection, right? It has to be side by side. And I think people know that. And, you know, sometimes I feel like I have no fucking clue why they don't just do it, because you can just do it. It is that simple.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting with the clearing and stuff, because I think, you know, for a while when I started packaging that stuff up, I didn't see, like, it's a really incredibly useful tool if it's combined with stretching yourself, taking action, stepping into the new version. But I think in the early days, I kind of had this realization like, oh my God, I'm going to create a legion of bypassing. Now I've got to clear all my problems before I can ever do anything, kind of little minions, you know, which we have a very different energy in the spiral world than that now. Like, there's a lot of really proactive people being very proactive compared to lots of other, say, healing modalities. You know, there's a lot more people who start and they're doing 6 figures after learning to do spiral, which you don't find that in the kinesiology world or the massage world or whatever typically. But in the early days, I think I accidentally was giving out this message of like, okay, firstly, you need to clear all your shit, you know, and meanwhile, I'd been obsessive on learning how to sell stuff, learning how to write copy, learning how to think entrepreneurially. I'd just been like fucking obsessed with that stuff for like 8 or 9 years. And that wasn't necessarily evident back then. It was like, oh, well, he just cleared it. And then all this stuff came. And it's like, no. Like, I did the clearing, but I was like making sales calls and sucking and taking notes and reading a book on objection handling and all that stuff. And I think it's been interesting following you and engaging with your content, because I think you've given me some of the permission that I give a lot of my people. So it's been cool to find someone holding a similar point for myself where it's like, you know, you can just decide, right? And I'm like, fuck. I mean, I already have just decided lots of times, but I could just decide again, you know, and that sort of thing. And I think one of the things, like if I was like, okay, I'm going to unpack Kat's secrets, you know, I think there's something you have around, it's almost like understanding the DNA of leveling up. You know, there's something I think you've got that is very unique to that. So I just thought I'd throw that in the mix and see what you've got to say about the phenomenon of like, how do you level up, Kat? What's the secret?
Yeah, cool. I love that. And you do such a great job, just to want to say something relevant to that, of showing both sides of that, like all the deep healing work and the spiritual stuff and the inner game, and then, do the fucking work. Sell his how. Yeah. Like this, there are very few people who I feel who marry those two worlds together. And I think I do that really well as well. But I think a downfall for me was similar to what you just said, where for years I kind of was like, freaking obvious, do the work. Like, we don't really need to talk about discipline. And then after all, it's like, I think we really need to talk about discipline and doing the work. But as far as the leveling up, like, I feel like that's my greatest gift, or it's also what I probably love and get most excited by, is working with people, whether individually or in my programs or whatever, like anytime like this, speaking about it around simply becoming that person now. And I do have a lot of different processes for it and practices and things that I teach in my courses and with my clients. But, you know, to simplify it down, to me, it really just comes down to, you see that thing inside of you, you feel it, like, it's kind of like, here are the rules. Number one rule is, if you see it, feel it, get a download, a nudge, whatever, a pigeon poops on your head and you have a breakthrough, then it's real. It's that simple. Like, that's the rule. So many people waste so much time like, oh, is it real, and can it be, and can it be for me, and am I good enough, and maybe I made that up in my head. Cut all that bullshit. Make a simple rule. If I feel it, even if I'm like, did I really feel it? Yeah, you did fucking feel it, because you're talking about whether or not you felt it, right? Then number one rule is, it's real. Following that, kind of part of the same rule or a follow-on, it's available. You don't see or feel something that's not available. If you have a nudge, a download, an idea, a dream, a fantasy, whatever, it's available. Period. The end. And I also believe that you only see and feel and get that if it's for you. So it is real, it is available for you. And unless you're specifically told that it's for some future date, so-called future date, depending which timeline we're operating on, unless you specifically are like, this is for after the birth of my first child, or whatever timeline thing, then it is available now. So nobody needs to go into like, ooh, but it's for one day and it's for the future, and when I've first, you know, prepared myself and become perfect, etc. It's real, it's available now. So people have to, you know, choose to either take that belief system on board or not. I think if you choose not to take that belief system on board, well, cool, nothing I'm going to teach is going to work for you anyhow. But also you might want to think about the fact that if you're opting out of the idea that what you see and feel inside of you is real, available for you, available now, if you want to opt out of that, you're really opting out of conscious creation. So, okay, cool, choose which way you want to go in life, right? But you're either all in on what I see and feel inside of me is available. There is some way in space and time that I could actually be that, have that, do that, create that. Yes, now, okay, you know, I'm not going to know how it will feel so mystical or far away or whatever, but that's fine. We didn't get up to the how bit yet. Anyway, you're either all in on that or you're all out, right? You're either all in or all out on the concept of, I can bring what I feel inside of me to life. It's not a part-way thing. You can't be, I half believe that I can bring what I see and feel inside of me to life. There's certain things in life that are finite, and I use this a lot as an example, like being Christian. You either are or you aren't. You're not kinda. Pregnant, you either are or you aren't. You're not kinda. Believe that you can create what you see inside of you, yes or no. It's black and white. So if you choose to believe that, and it is a choice, beliefs are always a choice. You don't have to, this is a huge part of the leveling up thing. So many people think they can kind of conceptually understand things to do with leveling up, but I don't feel it. Okay, but belief is a choice, not a feeling. The feeling, if anything, can come in and will generally come in, but it will follow the decision in a lot of instances. So it's about, does this make sense for me? Does this align with how I want to choose to see the world? Really, does it feel right in my soul? And a simple filter you can use when somebody suggests a belief system to you, which I just did, is, does this expand and lift and lighten me? Does something in me kind of feel like, wow, I'm interested, I'm like maybe skeptical, or I want to know how and I want to know more details, but I'm like leaning in and I'm expanded and I'm open? Or does it make you feel closed off, heavy, contracted, a little bit pushed down? And that's your easy filter on whether anything that anybody says is true for you or relevant for you. Does this lift and excite and expand me and I feel curious and, you know, wide-eyed and fascinated, even if I'm triggered or scared or whatever? Or does it make me feel heavy and like, oh, well, I guess I should take on board Kat's idea that everything's available to me. Gosh, let me write that down in my list for tomorrow. This is just like too much for me. I need a tequila, right? So if it feels that way, then maybe it's not for you for right now. So it needs to open and expand you. But then if we do take that belief system on board, there's a responsibility that follows that. And I guess this, to answer your question earlier, now that it's coming through and I'm dropped in, I guess this is a big reason why people don't show up as their true selves, because the responsibility is big. Yeah, we're not, you and I, we don't message or communicate or really even know many people in our lives who are not people who have calling and purpose in a big and in an extraordinary sort of a way. And that's scary. It's scary for any of us. And there's levels of that fear as well. Like when I think about, yeah, I've achieved pretty cool stuff, but there's so much more that, you know, I need to step into, and it's the same for all of us. And then it's like, oh, like, am I ready to be seen that much and to be that next level of out there? And so we go through this little push and pull. So for a lot of people, that push and pull, though, that's the story of their life, right? Like day after day, well, I wasn't ready. It felt too scary. I wasn't sure what the next move to make was, blah, blah, blah. And soon enough, there goes your life. So the responsibility side of it, it has to be a recognition that it's simply a choice to switch that flick or to plant that flag and go, well, this is who I'm now going to be. And somebody asked me yesterday in one of my groups, Kat, surely you have days where you're not off, or you're not on and you're not feeling it. And, you know, and then maybe sometimes you don't show up, but then other times you obviously do. So how do you actually get yourself into state? How do you, you know, like psych yourself up or switch the flick or whatever? And maybe on another day I would have answered this differently and go, okay, here's my different rituals and practices and so on, because of course I have all that stuff. But I answered in a short way, which was very much the truth, which is I just do my damn job. It's that simple. Like your job, your purpose work, your soul work, when you see and feel these things inside of you, go, okay, I'm choosing the belief system that if I saw it, felt it, got the nudge, got the download, etc., then it's real, it's available now, it's available for me, etc. The follow on from that, the next point is, well, do I accept this responsibility or this gift or this dream or whatever? Yes or no? Again, it's not, you can't be halfway on that. You cannot be one foot in both camps, kinda, but only so long as blah, 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 here's my list of conditions. No, you don't get to have a list of conditions. Yes or no? Do you accept this thing that's inside of you? Do you accept this next level that you've been shown? Even though, yes, it probably has a lot of scary shit or confronting shit or healing shit that's going to go hand in hand with it. Put that aside. Do you accept it? Yes or no? If yes, then again, this is like a rule that I would say for myself, like a personal policy, then it means you act. It's not, yes, I accepted the responsibility of being that next level self. I believe it's real and available. Yay, bring it on. Now I'm going to sit back and wait till God knocks on the door with a silver platter and says, here's your next level life, because that's part of your destiny. It doesn't work like that. Just because something's available and it is, you know, destiny, you could say, and divine and meant to be and all this stuff, that doesn't mean it will ever happen. You know, I think that a lot of people like us can fall into the trap, I did this for years, of thinking, well, I know that I'm meant to be something extraordinary and that I'm going to do incredible work in the world. And I was like very, always had the faith deep down. I just knew it. I felt it since I was too small to remember, but I remember clearly noticing it around the age of 10 or 11. And it was, I was certain, as many people are, this is my calling. Like the gist of it, I didn't have the details, but I felt the vibe. I had the essence. And it wasn't until I was probably 27 and I was just finished going through my first marriage breakdown, and I was successful, but I wasn't doing any of this. I was, working my butt off. I was hustling. I was a personal trainer. I had a successful personal training business back in Melbourne. And then it was like this huge wake-up call. And honestly, it brought me to my knees. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was like, oh, everything I see inside of me, oh my God, it's not going to just happen. Fuck, how come nobody told me that bit? Yeah. I grew up so blessed. My parents telling me you can do anything. You're the successful one. You're going to be more successful. Like I had like the ultimate upbringing as far as being filled with belief and positive affirmation. Maybe the flip side of that was, if you're not the A+ student, always, what happened? Why did you get an A and not an A+? But anyhow, I had all that. So very blessed and grateful. But it was kind of like nobody told me that I would have to do anything to make it happen, because not just my parents but my teachers were always like, you're amazing, you're this, you're that. I always feel like people want to throw things at me when I say that, because I know a lot of people didn't have that sort of upbringing. But yeah, what I didn't realize, and I had this wake up call where I was like, whoa, shit, if I don't actually go and choose this stuff and take responsibility and just decide to do it, it could actually never happen and I could die. And I think a lot of people like us think it's going to happen because I know it's going to happen. Well, wake up. People in your own family or friends or people have died already in this human life and didn't do it. They died with their light inside of them. That is common. That is the norm. Why do you think you're different? Oh, because I can feel it and I'm into it. Yeah, cool. So did they though. So are you doing it? Have you started? So I think the decision part of it, I do think that's the most important part of the whole leveling up and elevating your normal is, yes, I like accept this chalice. I'm taking it. I take responsibility. And then it is, okay, well, now you have to act as that person, and it's not fake it till you make it. It's realizing if you felt that and you see that new normal for yourself, you already have everything you need inside of you. Of course, you're going to learn more, grow more, heal more, clear more, etc. But for this moment, you're already equipped for this moment. You have everything for this moment. So you never, ever, ever is it justified. It's 100% always bullshit when you say, I can't write yet, do that yet, reach out to that person yet, present myself in this way yet because I need to such and such. No, if you felt it, it's already available now. You have what you need for this moment. And so then it is just, are you prepared to take that part of you, which might be like the tiniest, weakest little flame because you didn't nurture it yet, and to bring it out, even though, yes, it does feel scary and terrifying and you feel like you're parading yourself naked on the internet, and maybe that would actually be easier to post up some hot selfies rather than bare your soul, right? Mm-hmm. So that's like the first big part of it. And then the next big part, but I'll pause to let you talk because otherwise I'll go for like 3 hours. But the next big part would be around, okay, well, what does it actually look like to plant that flag, to decide, all right, I'm going to be like a crazy person and I'm just going to start to act as though I'm already that person and trust that what I have inside of me is enough. So what does that look like in terms of not just your actions, but beliefs, thoughts, feelings, emotions, your energetic state, all of it?
Yeah, huge. Love that whole piece. I think I was about 30. It was like 30, 31. You know, I'd done the life coaching training. I've done the whatever. I'd had a few clients and it just wasn't really happening. And I think I definitely had the belief I'm special. This is going to happen for me. Yeah. And I had a couple people that I saw who were a bit further along than me, and they were full-on executors, you know, and I found myself getting increasingly more judgmental and annoyed by them. Went to a couple of their events and I was like, I could have better, you know, branding or flyers or whatever, you know, this isn't even that good, whatever, you know. Went home, went back to another one 3 months later, by which time they'd probably run like 6 or 8 events since then, you know, and I was like, this is a bit pro now. Fuck. I think the penny dropped. It was like, yeah, because they executed. And they executed ugly, and they executed not great, and they executed with, say, 8 people in the room. And now there's 40 people in the room, and there's a team, and it looks really good. And they were good people too. They were like very positive, whereas I was inside being very bitter and like, fuck them. I'm better than this. I could do this better. I'm not doing it better. I've still got my day job and wondering where will my next client come from. And I was listening to Eben Pagan a lot at the time, and he had this whole piece around speed of implementation is what determines who grows fast. Who, you know, is one of the real, when they analyzed a bunch of salespeople, it wasn't how smart, it wasn't how charming, it wasn't whatever. It was like, how quick are they at implementing the new piece they learned, and how many reps do they kind of and it just sort of clicked. And around 30, 31, I was like, I need to become a better executor than other people, or than my past self, because I had been very deeply intuitive, feeling creative, connected to my spiritual self, but because of that, probably a little entitled, you know, like, well, I'm special, and some good things have happened to me in my life, so I think I'm a little bit magic, so, you know, maybe that's going to be what gets me there. But also feeling this inner frustration and this disconnect, and particularly when people were around me that were doing it, I would not like them. That was something that started to become this kind of reverse compass pointing back at me of like, something's off with you. And I'm like, nah, she just sucks because her stuff isn't even that good anyway. And again, being kind of successful like how I want, you know, and then something just clicked, and it was like, that's a good model for you. Like, if, you know, this person's running 20 events a year, you're running 1. What's going to happen over 3 years? They're going to be an expert. You're going to be a noob still, you know? And it just, I think I've been reading entrepreneur books and trying to immerse myself in it. And something about just execute and learn from the execution landed for me. You know, I'd never been athletic. I know a lot of my kind of fit friends, they understood that on some level of like, yeah, bro, you do the reps.
Yeah. Fitness has, like, I often think, well, I got my discipline in business and my result-based attitude from fitness. Then again, though, I was always result-based well before I was ever in fitness. I certainly wasn't like a fitness-oriented person growing up. I was the school square. I was always class for everything. And the personal trainer thing was kind of like, I was supposed to be a lawyer, went to 1 week at uni, stopped going, got to Europe, got a bit fat, came back, went to the gym, ended up being a personal trainer.
Right, went all in.
Yeah, but for sure, like, I'm so grateful to how much I learned about fitness, discipline, and that discipline equals freedom, which I really did learn through fitness. And, you know, I think a lot of us entrepreneurs are pretty adrenaline driven to some degree, not everyone, obviously, but even if not adrenaline, we like spontaneity and newness and creativity. And I so many times in business, when you're on the floor in the fetal position, either metaphorically or on occasion literally, I can definitely remember being on the kitchen floor crying at one point in the fetal position. And it's like most people just don't have the resilience and the tenacity and the inner strength to get the fuck up and keep going. And they make it mean something. They think, well, this means I'm not good enough. This means my thing didn't work. And I would always really, long before I made it in online business, like really draw on from fitness back when I used to train with, like when I was a trainer, I started that nearly 20 years ago now. So it wasn't a big thing being a personal trainer. It was a very new thing in Australia. It was kind of like, ooh, personal trainers are for celebrities. In fact, that was some of the branding we used at the start, not just for celebrities, because that's what everyone thought. So I was the only girl. It was such a male-dominated industry, and I would always just be surrounded by men and training with the men. But these guys that I spent years with in the fitness environment as a trainer were all ex-professional rugby boys. And so they trained this crazy style of training, and I was never given any allowances for being a girl, which, you know, I was glad about. But I also like really wanted to prove myself and be as tough as the boys. Like, you know, I had to undo some of that too much in the masculine stuff later. But at the time, it was literally like what are you doing, Kat? Are you dead? Why are you on the floor? Are you dead yet? No? Okay, then get up and keep going. Like, no, you know, like, oh, I have a tissue. Not at all. The opposite of that. And so I really learned to overcome internal barriers. And like, I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger saying something like, my mind is like, it's never the body that gives out. It's always the mind. And I've really held that statement a lot over the years because it's so simple, but so true. And in business, I've drawn on that a lot. And it is literally like, what's happening down here? Are you dead? No? Okay, then get up and keep going. And I do think I have a pretty hard-ass attitude towards doing the work. And sometimes people really like judge that a lot. And I know a lot of, especially like a lot of spiritually type people are like, well, she's about the hustle and she's too hardcore. And I'm spiritual, I'm not about the hustle. I'm like, oh, cry me a fucking river. The hustle is not about working against soul, and it's not anti-being spiritual. But my definition of hustle is like taking purposeful action no matter what to be who you're meant to be in alignment.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that because that's a projection I had on you quite early on. And it was interesting because I had just come out of like, I fucked myself up, you know, I burnt out, I took on too many things, I made some mistakes that really left a bad taste and kind of a few wounds. Moved to Byron, went more into like, I'm in my embodiment, I'm doing my feminine, you know, I've been on the Tantra thing, so I've been on the masculine. Yeah. And then I went down the feminine thing, and I remember sort of finding your stuff and being like, hustle, no. And then, but the more I got to know you, the more I, one, got the nuance of that, and two, you know, like, just to give an example today, like we're booking this interview, we've said 2, I messaged you at like 1:30, I'm like, hey, do you want to do a bit later? I'm kind of moving a bit slow today. You're like, well, I'm kind of sunbathing naked in the yard. So like, it's like, it wasn't like, well, I've just finished doing 900 burpees and I will now be driving my team to like close 500 sales. So I cannot be rescheduling a moment of my day, which I think is what people think, you know, around, I think that's what they think it means. And like,
they
even
do.
Like, you know, I fucking love Gary V, you know, and I resonate with him, and I also selectively take what I need.
Yeah.
And I, you know, see him looking super fucking tired or whatever, but I also sense like he's doing the thing he wants. This is what this guy wants to do.
He is so in his purpose. I mean, I got to spend a day in person with him about 2 years ago at his office, and I did like I paid for it, and I did like a VIP day. And, you know, I've always been a fan of Gary, and a lot of people are like, he's too about the hustle or whatever. The thing with Gary is like, I personally would never ever do those hours or that level of commitment away from my kids or anything like that. Not at all on my radar. But he legitimately is on purpose and in purpose. He's in his flow. He's coming from alignment, and that's what I care about. But even with him, like one time a few years prior to that, I actually interviewed him over a Zoom and did like a recorded video interview, which was when he was doing his book launch. And it was a Saturday for him or a Sunday, I think. And yeah, he did the interview. It was like 3 a.m. my time. I still have the alarm clock on my phone that got me up at like 2:45 a.m. like Ice Cube, you can do it, put you back into it. And the alarm is called Get Up for Gary. Anyway, he was in his bedroom at home, and he was like, he said to me, he's like, I've never ever done an interview from home before on the weekend. Do you realize what an exception this is? I never take interviews on the weekend. Weekend is family time. I've just popped into my bedroom from the kids, and you could hear them in the background running around. He's like, this is literally the first time I've ever done an interview on the weekend, but there was like no other time to fit you in or whatever, and he'd agreed to it already. And so I think he has his boundaries. Like, okay, you might still do way more hours than a lot of us would want to do with or without having kids. But yeah, again, it's kind of like, I feel like people get to maybe consider, why does the hustle trigger you so much? And it is the nuances of it, as you said, like that bothers me about my own messaging. Is like, I want everyone to understand what I really mean by that. Because if you hang with me for a little bit, you'll see I'm so from purpose and soul. I'm the first person to close the laptop down and go hang and play with my kids. And I don't even actually spend that much time working on my business. I'm just very intentional, and I really leverage my time, and I know how to basically appear to be everywhere all at once without actually that being so. We're just repurposing a lot of content. So there's definitely strategy there. But yeah, like the last thing I ever do is compromise one area of my life for another. And I guess I kind of explain all of that every single time I use the word hustle. Like I'll often say hustle flow.
Tricky, you know? And what I've found is a lot more, let's say the last couple of years, my brand and languaging has gone a little more into like, oh, magic, you know, oh, it's all magic. And it's almost the opposite nuanced problem of like, yeah, but we spent like 50 to 60 hours a week thinking about how to do this since fucking 2010, you know? So it's just like, you know, so I was sharing a few things of, oh, well, the other year I traveled the world. I probably worked about 3 or 4 hours a week, did these amounts. And I can feel like people are, oh my God, that's fucking magic. And I'm like, yeah, but if I'm fully honest and I show you the hours over like the last 10 years, you know, I lived with Dave Thompson for like a year, right? We lived together in Lennox Head, and it was like, yeah, I maybe only spend this much time writing copy or doing sales or doing whatever. We'd be cooking steaks together, and what would we talk about every night? Business, the internet, marketing, funnels, and it was just like, oh, that's like, you know,
it's immersion.
Total immersion. It's probably like 20 hours a week of like masterminding with a couple other people that you don't see when it's like, yeah, man, I just do a few hours of work a week now, you know? And it's like, it's very hard to paint that full picture.
Yeah, so true. Like I don't spend a crazy amount of hours actually sitting at the laptop, but it's kind of like, it's just who I am. My mind is like, I'm kind of continually doing inner work because I've programmed my mind for years now to think and operate and up level in a certain way. Pretty much every human I have in my life, whether they're physical, real life or overseas or whatever, is somebody who's very intentionally creating amazing things in their life. So any little silly chit chats I'm having through the day are literally like if I just published, I could probably make the best offer ever for $1,000 a piece or something and just publish all the WhatsApp threads from all my best friends. That would be gold. And that's just our nothing chat through the day. And then, you know, ideas that are just kind of like it's continual. So I think if we come back to this thing of how do you up level and become the new you and get to that new normal, it's you make it part of who you are to actually be continually up leveling already. It literally is your natural state. It's not even like second nature, it's first nature. Actually, I remember having a conversation with a one-on-one client a few years back, and I was in Bali and I was like walking in circles around the pool on the phone call to my client, and she was over in LA and she was already doing over 100K a month at the time. She'd been a client of mine since she was doing about 30K. So I'd known her, you know, pretty well. And she was kind of like, I want to be at 200K months. You know, what am I not seeing, Kat, that's going to get me from 100K to 200K? Like, she asked me similar questions. What you said, like, I know I just need to, like, lock in that 200K months is my new normal, and then it will just be automatic, right? It will happen all the time. Like, we all understand how this works. Once it becomes your new normal, it just kind of does. So how do I get 200K to be my new normal? And I came to a stop in the middle of pacing around the pool, and I was like, wait, like always putting my hand up even if no one can see me. Wait, what if it wasn't how do I go to 200K as my new normal, and what is the next level that I need to lock in there, and the beliefs, actions, blah, blah, blah. What if it was my new normal is that I'm continually up leveling no matter what, and I never have to be like, oh shit, it's time to align to 200K months. Like if you think about a child, they don't get to 5 years old and be like, fuck, I forgot to align to learning how to walk. It just happens. They're naturally elevating through the levels all the time. Nobody needs to remind them, and they never they might lay on the floor and cry, obviously, but they never give up. They always just go. So what if we made it like, oh, my ultimate new normal is not every time I want to go next level, I've got to figure out the beliefs, emotions, energies, mindsets, behaviors, actions, environment of all of that. That is a way to do it. It's kind of like a very effective way that I've taught a lot, but it's really more like the grade school or primary school version, and the advanced level is like my actual new normal is that I'm continually next leveling, like I'm continually evolving, not just as a human. And I think most people listening would already be like, of course I'm continually evolving with my knowledge, my inner game, my connectedness to soul, God, whatever. That's like kind of easy to accept. But what if it was also that you're continually evolving with money and with the things that you've maybe made bad or wrong, and maybe some of the stuff that people have to look at to do with how do I up level my normal is not so much, what does that look like? What's my inner state and my outer state relevant to that? But why is it not already obvious that of course I'm always elevating my income? Because maybe I've made money bad or wrong or scary, whereas elevating my knowledge and wisdom and connectedness to spirituality, I haven't made that bad or wrong. That seems obvious. And so I've easily allowed myself to continue to grow as a human. Well, what if it was just as obvious that you can continue to elevate material things or whatever other things you want, all of it,
Killer. That's such a nice piece. Something I kind of love to, I reckon we'll wrap up shortly. This has been an awesome just chunk of amazingness for a lot of people. It's going to hit them in a really good spot. Something, I'm really tracking this whole Corona thing on a sort of, my main focus is what innovations are going to happen, what industry changes are going to happen. I'm more interested in that than sort of like, infection data or that. That's less my focus and more like what's going to happen in our world and in the economic world and that sort of stuff. And it seems pretty obvious that a lot of people are going to be coming into attempting to do internet business probably very quickly. And so I wonder, those people who are in a much earlier stage, maybe they've been in their day job and they've been doing their little thing on the side, and suddenly the day job disappears, or for whatever reason, they now realize, well, it's time to figure out this fucking internet thing, which is, what did you say, 15 years you've been doing it? I reckon I'm sort of 7 or 8, and it's pretty good for us. It's like, oh, you're going to start trying to figure out the thing that I've been thinking about and playing with a lot for a long time. And so I see a lot of people in the positions we're in are going to be kind of really put even more in a leader position. But for those that are coming in, like literally like, oh, I should figure this out like right now. Like what would you give to them? Like if you could send them a little tweet or a little soundbite of like, listen, this is the very beginning. This is what you should get your head around. What would you tell them?
Yeah, cool. Great question. I think the thing that I wish I knew from the start, which actually I kind of did know, but then I put it aside and didn't back myself on it, was you have to go all in on being unapologetically you. And that has to be the foundation. And it's funny because, you pinged me and I was like, give me 5 minutes. I had lost track of time because I was writing up a little landing page, and the title I was using was to do with, being unapologetically you. Like that's the thing that I wish I knew from the start. And I wish I knew to fully back that in all decisions and actions. And, we could have 10 other riffs or follow-on conversations on what it actually means to be unapologetically you. But at the end of the day, every person listening, you do know. If you just put aside the bullshit and the what if and the this and the that, and just be like, oh, no, not available for bullshit. Sorry, Fia. Leave the room. Take yourself out or I'll get you escorted out by security. Come back to, no, you do know. Shut up with I don't know. Or if you say, oh, I still don't know, I'm not sure. Okay, cool. But if you were sure, then in this moment, what would that be? It has, that's the foundation. I wish I knew from the start. And then kind of hand in hand or as a follow-on with that, it is, and do the fucking work. Let's not get into this whole, like we've referenced a few times, I just be me, la-di-da, it's just magic. I mean, I've been guilty of saying many of those things as well. I'm very contradictory. I'm like, do the work, do all the work. I'm like, I do nothing. I just decide to do my head and then it happens. But it's like, both are true. And there is always a follow-on from I just be me. So maybe you would think to yourself or check in each day for people listening, whatever stage you're at of a journey, starting or very advanced, this is still true. Okay, the rule is I be unapologetically me no matter what, whatever that means in the moment, let's not overanalyze it. And I do the action that follows that. So I have to decide an action. There's always action. Sure, sometimes the action is lay naked in the garden. Actually, most days that's the action, I would say, some of it. But there's definitely, let's, be clear, there's definitely action that you are going to have resistance around. You're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel like you don't want to do it. You can't be bothered. The weather's not perfect. blah, 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 do the damn work. So what is the work that would go hand in hand with me unapologetically being all of me?
Yeah.
And getting the results I want.
That's great. I love that. I reckon we'll wrap this up here, Kat. Thank you so much for doing this. If
cool.
people are really feeling your vibe and they want to come and stalk you and suss you out more, where would they do that? Where's the best place to do that?
So you can just, you can follow me here here. You can follow me on Facebook or Insta, or find me pretty easy under Katrina Ruth or the Katrina Ruth Show. I'm very, accessible. You can message me and I'll message you back when I get to it, and come hang on a live stream or something. Or you can definitely go to the katrinaruthshow.com, and it's a bit of a shit show over there on my website. But if you look hard, you'll find where you can opt in for my free 4-part video series, which is called Everything You Know About Success is Wrong. And it's a really great 4-part video training. It's me at my most crazy and rambling. It's a lot of quantum and supernatural sort of shit mixed with some hustle. So you'll get a lot of value out of that. And you'll come into the madness of the Katrina Ruth Show.
That's awesome. I love the madness of the Katrina Ruth Show. I'm a fan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.